People thought Amy Fleming's heart would never open again. After losing Ty, the love of her life, it seemed like a part of her died too. The world of Heartland changed forever when Ty passed away, and fans around the globe mourned with Amy. But now, whispers are spreading across the internet, and one question is taking over fan pages, forums, and comment sections. Could Amy fall in love again? And if she does, will it be with Nathan? In Heartland Season 19, this question is more real than ever before. For a long time, Amy stayed focused on raising Lindy, working with horses, and being there for her family. She smiled, she worked, and she stayed strong. But fans always saw the sadness in her eyes. Losing Ty left a space in her life that no one could fill. She wasn't looking for love. She didn't want a new beginning. But life has its own way of changing plans, often when you least expect it. The idea of Amy marrying again was unthinkable to many fans. Ty wasn't just her husband. He was her first love, her best friend, and the father of her child. Their love was built over years through struggle, trust, and pain. They had something rare and beautiful. So when Ty died, it wasn't just Amy who broke. Viewers who had watched their journey from the very beginning felt the loss too. And that's why, even now, some fans still say, no one can ever take Ty's place. But then Nathan appeared. He didn't burst onto the screen like a romantic hero. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't dramatic. He was quiet, gentle. He blended into the background at first, a man who understood horses, pain, and silence. And maybe that's why he caught Amy's attention. Because he didn't try to fix her. He just listened, helped, showed up when she needed someone to lift a heavy saddle or fix a broken fence. Slowly, fans began noticing the way Amy looked at him, not with excitement, but with comfort. Now, everywhere online, people are asking the same thing. Is Amy ready? Ready to open her heart again? Ready to take a step forward? Ready to love someone who isn't Ty? It's not an easy question. It's one filled with emotion, fear, and even guilt. For many widows and single parents watching the show, Amy's story feels real. It's not just fiction, it reflects something deeply human. Can you move forward without forgetting the past? Heartland has always been about healing. It's never rushed Amy's journey, and the writers have handled her grief with care. But Season 19 is starting to hint at a turning point. Amy still talks about Ty. She still wears her memories like a soft coat. But when Nathan walks by, something in her eyes changes. Not love. Not yet. But maybe the idea of love. The idea that her heart, once frozen by loss, could start to feel warm again. And that one idea is shaking the Heartland fandom to its core. Grief doesn't vanish. It changes shape. At first, it crushed Amy like a wave. Then, slowly, it became something quieter, something she carried. After Ty's death, Amy didn't fall apart in front of everyone. She didn't scream or run away. Instead, she did what Heartland girls do. She stayed. She woke up early, fed the horses, braided Lindy's hair, and hid the storm in her chest. No one saw the nights she spent staring at Ty's empty side of the bed, the tears she wiped away before morning chores. Amy didn't move on, she moved forward. One step at a time, she threw herself into her work with horses. She healed animals, with wounds like her own, animals who had been hurt and needed trust, not force. The barn became her place of peace, a space where she didn't need to explain how she felt. The horses understood. They didn't ask questions. They simply listened. With every quiet ride, every saddle tightened with her own hands, Amy found pieces of herself again. Then there was Lindy. Amy's daughter became her reason to stay strong. Lindy had Ty's eyes, his calm heart. And when Amy looked at her, it hurt, but it also gave her strength. She promised herself that her daughter would grow up knowing love, even if that love came from stories instead of memories. Amy read bedtime books, tucked her in every night, and kissed her forehead with a smile that sometimes trembled. She never let Lindy see the cracks. Her family stood beside her too. Lou offered support, even when she didn't always know what to say. Jack became her rock, not with words, but with his steady presence. He knew what it meant to lose the love of your life. His quiet understanding gave Amy permission to grieve in her own way. There were days when Amy felt alone, even in a house full of people. But she never gave up. She never disappeared. She kept showing up for her daughter, for the ranch, for herself. Fans watching from their living rooms felt it. They saw the pain in her eyes, the tiredness behind her smile, and they respected her for it. Heartland didn't give her a shortcut through grief. The show let Amy take her time. Seasons passed, and slowly, she found laughter again. Not all the time, not loud, but real. She began to enjoy the little things like watching Lindy ride, or hearing the wind in the trees, or feeling the sun on her face while brushing a horse. But healing isn't the end of the story. Sometimes healing leads to new questions. Now, as season 19 unfolds, Amy's strength looks different. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about growth. It's about allowing herself to smile without guilt, to imagine joy without shame. That kind of strength, the strength to hope again, is rare. And that's where Nathan quietly enters the story. Not as a hero, not as a savior, but maybe as a mirror, a reflection of who Amy could become next. And that's why her journey matters more than ever. He didn't arrive with a grand entrance or dramatic music. There was no storm, no spark flying across the screen. Nathan appeared the way real people do, quietly. Just another man on the ranch, a helper, a stranger with calm eyes and a voice that didn't try to be loud. At first, fans barely noticed him. He wasn't trying to be noticed. And maybe that's exactly why he stood out. Nathan didn't chase Amy. He didn't flirt or speak with charm. He simply respected her space. He talked about horses, not heartbreak. He offered his time, not promises. And for a woman like Amy, who had loved and lost so deeply, that meant something. It didn't remind her of Ty, but it didn't ignore Ty either. Nathan understood silence. And sometimes silence says more than words ever can. He wasn't just anyone. Nathan had his own story, one the show hasn't fully told yet. But fans can feel it. There's a past in his eyes, pain, perhaps, or quiet regret. When he looks at Amy, it's not with longing, it's with recognition. Like he sees her strength, her tiredness, her courage. And he doesn't try to fix her. He simply walks beside her. That kind of presence is rare, and slowly, Heartland fans began to feel the shift. The internet didn't take long to notice. Comment sections began filling with soft questions. Who is Nathan, really? Is it just friendship? Did you see the way he looked at her when she wasn't watching? These weren't wild shipping theories, they were gentle hopes. People weren't demanding romance. They were hoping for peace. Not just for Amy, but for someone who could meet her where she is, not where she used to be. It's the small things Nathan does that stir curiosity. The way he stands beside her while she talks to a nervous horse. The way he listens instead of interrupting. How he waits until she finishes speaking, not rushing her or trying to lead the moment. These are things Ty once did, but with a different kind of energy. Ty was wild and brave. Nathan is calm and steady. Not a replacement, just something new. Some viewers see it and feel hopeful. Others feel protective of Ty's memory. But even they can't deny it. There's something in the air. A soft connection. A chance. Nathan never asked for Amy's heart. He's never even hinted. But that's what makes this story so real. Because sometimes, love doesn't arrive like thunder. It arrives like rain after a long dry season. Quiet, gentle, and deeply needed. Whether it grows into love or stays as companionship, Nathan's presence has already done something important. It's shown Amy that she is still seen, still valued, still able to feel connection without guilt. And maybe, just maybe, it's reminded her that her story isn't over. It's still being written with new names, new emotions, and new possibilities. It's not just a TV show. Not to the fans. Heartland became a part of people's lives, something they watched during breakups, family dinners, quiet nights alone. And at the heart of it all was Amy and Ty. Their love was slow, real, and earned. So when Ty died, it wasn't just Amy who lost something millions of viewers did too. That's why the idea of Amy loving someone else doesn't feel simple. It feels like a crack in something sacred. Now, with Nathan quietly entering Amy's world, the internet has turned into a storm of emotions. One scroll through a fan group or Heartland subreddit tells you everything. There's hope. There's anger. There's confusion. Some fans write long posts explaining why Amy should move on. Others can't even say Nathan's name without feeling disloyal. This isn't drama for clicks, it's heartbreak. Still healing after years. One comment stood out. I want Amy to be happy. I really do. But part of me still hopes she'll wake up and Ty will walk in. That one sentence holds the pain of many. Another fan wrote, Amy doesn't need to forget Ty to move forward. She just needs to believe her heart still has room. And that's the divide. It's not about Nathan vs. Ty. It's about grief vs. love, past vs. future, memory vs. hope. Some fans defend Nathan fiercely. They see him not as a replacement, but as a chance for Amy to finally breathe again. They point to the way he respects her space, the way he never pushes. If she's going to love again, one fan said, I wanted to be with someone like that. These voices believe in growth, in new beginnings, in love after loss. They aren't asking Amy to forget, they're asking the world to let her heal fully. Then there are those who just aren't ready. Not because they hate Nathan, but because Ty was more than just a character. He was part of their own memories. Watching Amy fall in love with someone new feels like closing a chapter that many aren't ready to end. And maybe that's okay. Maybe grief doesn't follow the same path for everyone, even in fiction. The writers of Heartland now walk a careful road. They know how deeply fans feel about Amy's story. One wrong move, one scene too soon, and it could break trust that took years to build. But they also know something else. The show has always been about life. And life doesn't freeze after loss. It flows. It changes. It surprises. Just like Amy, the fans are also learning how to carry love and pain in the same heart. In the end, one truth stands out in every post, every tweet, every quiet comment. No one wants to see Amy hurt again. Whether they support Nathan or still hold on to Ty's memory, everyone wants the same thing for Amy to be okay, to smile, to feel joy without guilt. And that shared hope might be the strongest sign that Heartland still matters deeply. It starts with a look, not long, not loud, just a look that holds too much in silence. That's how season 19 begins to change everything. Amy stands beside Nathan, brushing a horse. He says something small, maybe about the weather or a saddle strap, but it's the way he looks at her after. That's what fans noticed. In that one quiet moment, a door opens and the world watching Heartland leans in, asking, is something happening between them? Heartland has never been a show about big gestures. It's about the space between words, the feelings left unspoken. That's why fans are so good at spotting tiny details. A glance, a pause, a smile that lingers 1 second too long. And in season 19, those moments between Amy and Nathan are starting to build up, not as proof of romance, but as the beginning of something new, something the writers are letting grow slowly, carefully, just like Amy's heart. Clues are everywhere. Now, if you're watching closely, Nathan isn't just helping with ranch work, he's being placed beside Amy in more scenes. Sometimes it's during quiet chores, other times during important family talks. And then there's Lindy. Her presence in these scenes adds even more weight. In one episode, she smiles at Nathan, casually includes him in a story. It's subtle, but it matters, because children sense what adults often hide. Even Jack and Lou are starting to notice. The writers haven't made it obvious, but their expressions, their timing, they're not random. Jack watches Nathan the way a grandfather watches a man who might matter. Not with disapproval, but with careful eyes. Lou, always protective of Amy, seems curious too. There's no conflict. No warnings, just that quiet energy you feel when something important is beginning. Outside the show, the actors are also giving soft hints. In interviews, they talk about Amy's future with cautious words. She's learning to open up again. Healing is part of the journey. No one says Nathan is the next love interest, but no one denies it either. And for Heartland fans, that mystery is more exciting than a clear answer, because it lets them hope, fear, wonder, all at once. What's even more powerful is how gentle the shift feels. There's no rush, no forced kiss, just two people, both carrying stories, finding comfort in each other's silence. If there is romance coming, it won't be sudden. It will be slow, like the way grief fades, not all at once, but little by little. That's the kind of storytelling Heartland has always done best. It doesn't tell you what to feel, it lets You feel it yourself. So now, fans are watching each episode not just for the horses or family moments, but for the seconds in between. The passing glances, the way Amy stands when Nathan speaks, the warmth in his voice when he says her name. None of it proves anything, but maybe that's the point. Real connection isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and full of space to grow. Some love stories don't begin with sparks. They begin with silence and writers who understand the weight of waiting. That's what Heartland has always done differently. The writers never rush the big moments. They build them gently, like fences around an open field. Every choice feels natural, every emotion honest. And when it comes to Amy's heart in season 19, the writers are walking even more carefully than before. They know what's at stake. This isn't just about love, it's about timing, trust, and respect. Fans are split. Someone to surprise a sudden confession, a kiss in the rain, something to shake Amy out of the quiet. But others are hoping for something slower, a relationship that takes its time, like the way a horse learns to trust again after being broken. The writers seem to be leaning toward the second path, and that says something beautiful. They're not writing for shock, they're writing for truth. Every hint so far suggests a slow burn. Nathan doesn't chase Amy. He doesn't say the things we expect a love interest to say. He simply shows up, again and again, and in doing so, he becomes something rare in television. A man with no agenda. That's not flashy, but it's real. The writers are using that stillness to build something deep, not just for Amy, but for the audience too. They're giving us space to feel what she feels. Fear, confusion, hope. But that doesn't mean a surprise isn't coming. Heartland has a way of giving us calm stories, then dropping one moment that changes everything. A single sentence, a soft confession, a choice made in silence. If the writers plan to do this with Amy and Nathan, it won't be loud. It'll be tender. Maybe a moment where Amy admits that she's tired of feeling empty. Or maybe Nathan will share something from his past, and Amy will see herself in his pain. The surprise might not be love, it might be the moment Amy finally lets herself believe that love is still possible. The best part, the writers aren't forcing us to choose between Ty and Nathan. They're not asking Amy to forget. They're letting her carry both stories, one in her heart, one in her future. This kind of writing takes care. It honors the past while gently opening the door to something new. And that's why it matters. Because for so many fans, Amy's journey isn't just a story. It's a reflection of their own grief, their own healing, their own second chances. As each episode unfolds, the question becomes softer, but heavier. Will she open the door? The writers aren't giving answers. Not yet. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe the real story isn't about who Amy will love next, but how she learns to love again. Not just someone else, but herself. And that is the slowest burn of all. Not every love story ends with goodbye. Some stories simply pause, leaving space for something new to begin. That's where Amy stands now. Not in the past, not fully in the future, but in the space in between. She still wears the weight of what she lost. But something is changing. Slowly, quietly, and maybe that's the most powerful thing of all. Because for the first time in a long time, Amy isn't just surviving. She's beginning to feel alive again. This doesn't mean she's forgetting Ty. No one who truly watched her story could ever believe that. Ty will always live in her through Lindy's smile, through every quiet memory, through the strength she carries on her shoulders. But Amy is learning what so many people who have lost someone must learn. Love isn't something you use up. It's something that changes shape. It grows in new places, in new ways. And sometimes, it grows again when you least expect it. Is she ready? Maybe, maybe not fully. But readiness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a soft breath, a step forward, a hand not pulled away. And with Nathan, we're beginning to see that. Not passion, not certainty, just presence. And that's where real love often begins. The truth is, no one can answer the question for Amy. Not the fans, not the writers, not even Amy herself. Life doesn't hand us clear signs. It gives us moments, and we have to choose what to do with them. Heartland has always been about choosing love, choosing family, choosing hope even when it hurts. And now, in season 19, Amy is facing the same choice once more. Whatever she decides, one thing is clear. this isn't the end of her story. It's the beginning of something new. And whether that something becomes love, or healing, or simply peace, we'll be here watching, hoping, supporting, because we don't just want Amy to move on. We want her to feel whole again.